Let's look at our Torah Parsha in context because it's poison to look at Scripture not in context. Numbers 3, 5 through 9, just a few verses. All I have, this is a wacky day. We have 12 screens, we have 12 verses, we have 12 tribes, we have 12 systems. Our key verse is 1 Corinthians 12:12. If you knew what 12 meant, you'd be like, wow. 3, 5 through 9, just have 12 verses today. That's it, guys. Adonai said to Moshe, that's the Lord saying to Moses, summon the tribe of Levi, and assign them to Aharon the Cohen, Aaron the priest, so that they can help him. They are to carry out his duties and the duties of the whole community before the tent of meeting in performing the service of the tabernacle. They are to be in charge of all the furnishings of the tent of meeting and to carry out all the duties of the people of Israel connected with the service of the tabernacle. Assign the Levim, the Levites, to Aharon, Aaron, and his sons. Their one responsibility. How many responsibilities do they have? One. God is deep, but he's very simplistic. The world is very complex and confusing and shallow. God told them, look, guys, one thing. Serve them. That's all. Serve them. Crazy, no? The Levites were servants in charge of the tabernacle. Look at this word help. I just highlighted one word. I could have highlighted service and servitude. Sharaf. We're looking it up in the Hebrew because the Old Testament was written originally his language was Hebrew, and the New Testament was written in Greek. So if you want to understand the words in the New Testament, you have to use a Greek lexicon. To minister to or to serve. Some of you young people, even some of you old people, are dying to be ministers because you think a minister gets a microphone and he gets to talk and everybody listens to him. You are clueless as to ministry. I could give you 3 sermons a day. I get them every morning and I hear from God, and that's not what it's about. Ministry is service. It's changed. America has redefined Christianity. Today, it's do your best and have fun. Love God, which is sentimentality. It's not obey God. It's not giving you your whole heart, your mind, and soul, and strength, like the Bible says. It's just love God. Like, I love ice cream. I love God. It's sentimentality. Has nothing to do with obedience. And if you put obey God on your website, then the chairs are going to empty. Don't do that today. You don't do that. You paint that ceiling black. You get a rock band. You let the kids play games so they feel like they're on a cruise ship. And just love God. And are they nice people? Very nice. Are they malicious? No. No. Are they evil? No. They're nice guys who love God. And then they tell you, love God. And then they tell you, do your best. The motivational speakers. Guys, I got news for you. There are people on TV. Some of you watch. Some of you pay to go see. They are not preachers of the gospel of Jesus Christ. What they are motivational speakers. So if you want to pay to get motivated, then go hear them. But don't you dare tell me they're preachers of the gospel. My friend Samuel's a preacher of the gospel, putting his life on the line, serving people day in, day out. Not these knuckleheads flying around in jets while you give them $50 to come to their concert. You're out of your mind. Rabbi, how can you say it? Somebody's got to. I don't want to. I want to be a good guy. I want everybody to love me. I want to be invited over to people's houses for free dinners. I want to be complimented. I want people to say, Rabbi Greg, he's such a great guy. What a nice guy. You think in the first century, people would have been running around saying, that Jesus, he's just a nice guy. Could you see Jesus right before he ascends on the Mount of Olives? Says, just one more thing, guys. I almost forgot. Just have fun. That's the church today in America. Have fun. And instead of shepherds looking out for their sheep, shepherds looking out for their sheep and teaching and training, you've got clowns entertaining goats. To minister, to serve. Not because it's convenient, because it's inconvenient. You know what love is? Love is inconvenience. And the more inconvenient it is, the more love it is. Love is sacrifice. Love doesn't walk away. Love doesn't look away. Look, forget if you're a single mom. If you got to, Bernadette and I, we fight back to back. Fight back to back. Shana said to me the other day, she's not here so I could talk about her. By the way, you know Bernadette's not here because look at my shirt. It's the best one I could find. Did the underarm test, put it on, that's that. I actually have to call her today to find out how to work the washing machine. Sad. Where was I before you rudely interrupted me? Shana. She said to me the other day, she said, you know, Dad, I'm going to be going to college. I said, I know, Shay, what? She goes, you know, if you would have stopped after me, you'd be done. She said to me, listen, she said, Dad, have you ever thought about that? I said, 10,000 times a day, Shay. On Shabbat, 20,000. Oh, Rabbi, I never feel like running away. You're just such a perfect parent. How do you do it? Guys, you've been here long enough to know that we're not going to filter everything to make everything nicely wrapped. So when your life is falling apart, you can go home and look at 3 little principles and take 2 scriptures and call me in the morning. Life is not sanitized and it's not sterile. It's messy and dirty. So we get down and dirty here. Serve, to be a servant. By the way, just for the record, are there any servers here? I used to call them waiters, but you can't call them that anymore. Just like you got to call a flight attendant, right? God forbid you call them a stewardess. They will take you down on the mat, right in the plane. They will wrestle you down. Oh, I'm sorry, you're a flight attendant. Then how about attending the flight? Where are you, in the basement? You ask for something that's like, oh, again? You want another water? I'm sorry. Are you a flight attendant? And then if you get up to get it yourself, sir, please. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Are there any servers in here? Restaurant servers? Okay. If you're a manager, please tell your staff to stop coming over and going, hi, I'm Dave. I'll be taking care of you tonight. Really, Dave? You're going to be taking care of me? Well, how's this? I'm going to slip off my shoes, and let's start with a foot rub, because my feet are killing me. That would be taking care of me tonight. Dave, I'm gonna order a hamburger. You're going to go in the kitchen and get it and bring it to me. That's our relationship. And then they ask you, have you been here before? What are you, a cop? And if there's 6 of you, right, 5 of you say yes, like, what is this, the Inquisition? Yes. And then there's always that one person who hasn't been there. And the waiter looks at them like, what's wrong with you? How come you haven't been there? And what do they always say when you say yes? Welcome back. Like you came back from the battlefield. I want a burger. That's all I want. Now, I talk to all of them because it's always a chance. You ask my kids, they're like, oh my. Because within 5 minutes, they're sitting at the table. They're sitting at my table because I want to witness to them. I want to share the Lord with them because I know they had like bad experiences. But maybe the worst thing is when they say to you, they put the menu down, they go, now on the top are appetizers, and then you have the entrees, and they turn over your menu and they go, on the back are drinks. What am I, living in a cave? You don't think I've ever been to a restaurant? It's a menu, right? I think most of them are obviously working for gratuity. I get it. It's a hard job. And I give 20% if they stink. Just because. There's no sweat off my back to give them a couple extra bucks. What's the big deal? But it might help them out. Plus, you know, when you give 10%, then you try to tell them how generous the Lord is, it doesn't look good. Just throwing that out there to some of you. Okay? But I'm not talking about working for a tip. The Levites didn't work for a tip. No, they didn't get any land, and they lived off whatever the Lord gave them. They were servants, legitimate servants. Let me show you a little graphic. That was the way it was set up. You had 3 tribes on each side. around the Levites. You had 3 sons of Levi, Merari, Gershon, and Kohath. The priests were in the east gate because that's the entrance to the tabernacle. They were the priests. Now, Aaron came from Kohath, and Moses came from Kohath because they were brothers. Their father was Levites, but Aaron and his sons were priests, and the Levites served the priests, and they guarded the tabernacle. And the placement of the tribes, Israel's encampment, was very methodical. Some people think God's not a God of order. Then you don't know God. God is absolutely a God of order. Okay? He's very methodical, very organized, very orderly, and incredibly precise. Have you ever read Exodus 25 to 40? You know how specific he is on the sockets on a curtain? And you don't think it's no big deal. Why do you think Satan always gets away with, did God really say? If you don't know what he really said, you're going to agree with him. Oh, Rabbi, it's no big. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? It's a big deal. Little sins lead to major ramifications. How many one nights of passions happened where a baby was birthed that you couldn't take care of because you couldn't afford it, nor were you too selfish to do it? So grandma, who's exhausted and tired, is taking care of your kid while you'll still go out and be a kid. The Merarites, they carried the structural components of the tent. Very specific. They took care of the frames, the bars, the pillars, the bases, the pegs, and the cords. The Kohathites, they took care of the tabernacle sanctuary. Their job was to take care of the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the vessels, and the screens. And the Gershonites covered the coverings and the hangings to the entrance screens and the courtyard. Very specific God was. Can you imagine how technical and specific? So we see that each group of the Levites had a very specific order from the Lord as far as their responsibilities were concerned, their service. But with many hands doing the work can be accomplished. This is going to be a hard teaching for some of you because, I don't know what happened, but somehow the modern day New Wave church has redefined Christianity. Now it's like, don't worry, just give. We'll keep hiring people and you don't have to do nothing. Just hang out, have fun. That ain't Christianity. You see Jesus talking to his disciples, just hang out. Remember in the beginning of the movement, Greek widows, non-Jewish speaking widows weren't getting taken care of? And they came to the apostles and they said, look, we're so busy, let's get some servants. And they raised up deacons, no? Like Stephen. Today you can't raise up deacons. First of all, nobody wants to be a deacon. Hire somebody. I just want you to know that there's probably not a person here besides myself who knows what tribe they're from, right? Maybe one other, but that's not a high percentage. Listen to what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, since you don't know what tribe you're from, that means you're all Levites. That's good. That means you're all servants. And if you're here today, I, as a rabbi and a priest, have ordained you. You're official. I can even get you a card if you want. Some of you are like, I wish I didn't come. I don't want to be a servant. I want to be a prophet. I want to get on a plane. I want to talk to people. I want to be a preacher and a teacher. Let's go into our New Testament Parsha, our portion. But before I talk about Corinthians, let me just say it was a problem-racked church. It was a problem child, and it was dysfunctional to the highest degree. They were dealing with major divisions. They were dealing with idol worship. They were dealing with massive immorality. They were dealing with marital problems. They were dealing with the abuse of the spiritual gifts. And they were dealing with legal battles, just to name a few. So let's take a look at 1 Corinthians 12. We read from 1 Corinthians 12 today, but I want to give a little context. It says in verses 6, 7, this is the section about spiritual gifts. If you want to know about tongues and the other spiritual gifts, then just read 1 Corinthians 12, 13, 14. That's the quintessential 3 chapters on the gifts. And don't argue with it, whatever it says. When it says no more than 3 people can speak in tongues, 3 means 3. It doesn't mean 303. When it means there has to be an interpretation, it means there has to be an interpretation. When it means that no 2 should be speaking at the same time, it means what it says. Just read it. It's 3 little chapters, easy. Then summarize it, and you'll have all you need to know about it. But you'll be like, oh, well, Rabbi, no, because I go to a place and 400 of us talk, and that's not public. It's not public? Is everybody else deaf? It's public. There are different modes of working, but it is the same God working them all and everyone. Moreover, to each person, that means all of us, is given the particular manifestation of the Spirit that will be for common good. Now, before we go to that word, listen to me really carefully. There is no believer who does not have a function to perform in the body of Messiah. You hear that? There is not one believer in the body of Messiah that doesn't have some gifting and a function to perform. Not one. Not one. And the gifts were given for the profit of the entire body. They are not given for self-display or self-gratification. Too many people that I don't even know how gifted they really are abuse the gift by pointing the attention to themselves. The Bible says they're for the common good. Now let me show you that word in the Greek, just so you know I'm not fudging this thing. It says to bear together, to contribute in order to help. It means the gifts were given to support one another and to help one another and to serve one another. Period. Nothing more, nothing less. Now look at 1 Corinthians 12:11. It says, one and the same Spirit is at work in all these things. Every single gift, distributing to each person as He, the Holy Spirit, chooses. And because the Holy Spirit is part of God, the Spirit of God, if you will, the gifts are produced, distributed, and controlled by God, period. Let's say that again. The gifts are produced or manufactured, distributed, and controlled by God. Now let me give you a word of advice to some of you charismaniacs. Don't let the gifts take you where your fruits can't keep you. I've seen many gifted people come like man, power. And where are they today? Fizzled out. If you believe this verse, if you believe that God's controlling it all, a couple of things will happen. One, it will eliminate all pride, because you'll realize that you don't possess the gift by your own accord. It was given to you. So pride's eliminated, which is a good thing, huh? There are some people that actually pride themselves on their humility, which is just a joke to me. Two, it will eliminate discontent, because we'll realize that it was God Himself who made the decision to give you the gift you have. How dare you say to God, you don't know what you're doing? Look, I've had a couple of conversations with God like that. Not that He doesn't know what He's doing, but He asked me, what are your favorite trees? I specifically said palm. I know pine sounds like palm in a northern accent, but I was very happy in Norman Beach with palm trees. And then He turned to the angel and said, pine, send them to Macon. I was like, no, not pine, palm. I said palm. Too late. Too late. And overnight, I came here, overnight. I looked around and said, where are the palm trees? That's why we have palm trees. I come here every day and I make believe, I fantasize. I'm back in Norman Beach. So eliminate pride, it will eliminate discontent. With most people walk in one or the other. They're either discontented with God or life, or they're prideful. But the best for me is that we'll focus on the giftor, not the giftee. Now, if some of you are teachers in English, I know giftor is not a word, and I know giftee is not a word, but I think you get my drift. We'll focus on the giver of the gifts, not the recipient of the gifts. Gifts come and go. The word of the Lord is forever. And if I were you, I wouldn't pray for a gift. I would just ask God what your gift is and operate in it. Now, 1 Corinthians 12:12, the key verse. I told you the number 12 is spoken about 140 times in the Scripture. 20 times alone in Revelation. 12 is a number in gematria, biblical numerology, not, the Psycho Friends Network. I'm not talking about Dionne Warwick, that nut. I'm talking about biblical numerology, gematria, okay? 12 is a perfect number, and it symbolizes God's power and authority. Also, a governmental foundation. You need a government. People say, we don't need anybody. Really? Okay, let the kids raise themselves. Let the school not have a principal. Let the company not have a CEO. Let there not be a medical director. You're out of your mind. And I'll tell you, you're not out of your mind, you're rebellious. That's the real problem. You can't submit to authority. Who are they to tell me? Who is that cop to tell me not to speed? He's a law enforcement officer. His job is to enforce the law. Without him, it would be chaos. Thank God for police officers. Pray for them. This says, for just as the body is one but has many parts, and all the parts of the body, though many constitute one body, so it is with the Messiah. How many people do we have in the medical profession here? You live in Macon, probably half of you, right? Either that or you work at the base. Geico! Forgot Geico! We have a couple of doctors here, and we have nurses here, and we have physician's assistants here, and physical therapists here. The human body Paul is using, and how much did they know about the human body back then? Not much. I mean, God knew because he knitted it together, but they didn't have the information we have today. We have information that we didn't have 20 years ago. The human body is an illustration of unity and diversity, one with many parts. Let me show you. The human body, I think, is interesting. It has 12 systems. 12 is a number that just keeps coming up. Circulatory, which circulates the blood, correct me if I'm wrong, Doc, around the body, delivering oxygen to organs and cells. And by the way, every single one of these in the natural have a spiritual connotation, but I do not have time to get in it. But anemia is when you lack oxygenated blood and cells start to die. Anomia is spiritual anemia. Without the law, you start to die spiritually. You get it? Isn't that beautiful? God is unbelievable. The digestive system provides nutrients via the mouth, the esophagus, stomach, intestines. Endocrine system provides chemical communications within the body using hormones. And some of you are using your hormones a little too much. Integumentary system, skin, hair, nails, sweat, and exocrine glands. Lymphatic system, a network of tissues and organs that help rid the body of toxins, really important. Immune system, portions of many systems that fight disease. Muscular system enables the body to move using muscles. Nervous system collects and processes info from the senses via nerves in the brain. Renal system, the system where the kidneys filter blood. Reproductive system, the sex organs required for the production of offspring. Respiratory system, the lungs and the trachea that bring air into and out of the body. And the skeletal system, bones supporting the body and its organs. You have any idea how intricate these systems are? Albert Einstein, who was a genius's genius when he was discovering some of these things about the eye, he fell on his knees and asked God to forgive him, not giving him enough credit. Many scientists, Copernicus, many scientists, Galileo, were God-fearers. Science doesn't deny God, it confirms God. The only thing it doesn't confirm in science is their theories, because they're wrong 80% of the time. But scientific truths confirm the Bible. It's not one or the other. There's many scientists that are God-fearers. My point about this is, although all believers are different and perform different functions, they all combine to make one functioning unit. The head of the body is Messiah, and he resides in heaven. Guys, he's not here. He's not here. He's only with you in spirit. He said, I'm leaving. He's at the right hand of the Father. He can't be at the right hand of the Father and at your right hand. So he sent the Spirit. So guess what the Spirit's supposed to do? You're supposed to perform the miracles. When you see somebody in need, you don't pray. Don't pray for a sandwich to fall out of heaven, because I've never seen one. Get them, a sandwich. Messiah resides in heaven, but his body, us, resides on the earth. Just as the human body is a vehicle by which a person expresses himself to others, if I don't have a body, I can express myself. So the body of Messiah, us, is the vehicle by which Yeshua chooses to make himself known to the world. You're a God rep. You represent God. Man. If that doesn't wow you, I don't know what the heck is going to. We're almost done. We have 3 verses. 1 Corinthians 12:14. For indeed, the body is not one part, but many. Without a variety of parts, we went through it, you could not have a healthy, functioning human body. You know, when one thing is off, it affects everything. It's so complex. And we try to fix this, and you go to this doctor, and he says, take this, and this doctor says, take this, and nobody's communicating, and you're on 47 pills, and in no time, you're dead. Dead. Rabbi, that's not nice. Look, some of you are my best friends and your doctors. I'm telling you that you are amazing people, and you do wonderful work, but we have to communicate with one another. So that there's many parts, and although one's different from the other, they all still work together in obedience to the head. The brain runs the show. And in cooperation with one another. What is Paul saying here? He's saying we're servants. And we have to work together. Rabbi, you're going to lose people. Listen to me. I don't want to lose nobody, but if you're not doing nothing, what are we losing? Some of you aren't helping, some of you aren't giving, you're just taking up room. We can use the parking spaces. I'm not trying to be mean, but really, what are you doing? When we see that diversity is essential to a normal, healthy body, it will save us from 2 very, very serious dangers. One, from belittling ourselves. Look at 1 Corinthians 12:16. And if the ear says, I'm not an eye, so I'm not part of the body, that doesn't make it stop being part of the body. The ear is belittling itself. It's saying, oh, I wish I was an eye. I wish I was an eye. If your ear was an eye, then your mouth would keep saying, what? What? Come again? You follow? Let me try it again for those that, I don't know, never went to school. If the ear was an eye, your mouth would say, what? Because you don't have an ear. So you should never belittle yourself with the gift God's given you, no matter how little it is. Let me give you an explanation. Is Julie Ray here? Julie Ray, I'm going to embarrass you, and I could care less. How old are you, Julie Ray? I'm making you. We've been friends for 14 years. Don't you deny me. How old are you? 25? That would have been the good answer. 70. And how old are you, Gerald? 76. And these two come and do landscape. Now let me tell you, do I care about landscape? Plants, when they look at me, they drop dead. Come see my yard. It's sad. I just don't have the green thumb, but let me tell you something, okay? I come here every day, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes I come at night just to pray at the wall. And you have no idea how much joy the landscape brings me. Now, why the heck is a 70 and a 76-year-old the only one doing it when all you young studs won't lift a finger because it's below you? Rabbi, you're crazy. I'm not crazy. It's true. It's true. I'm not crazy, right? Never belittle yourself. Julie Ray might go, oh, I'm just doing some landscape. You're making me really happy. I used to clean up Price Road. For years, I cleaned up Price Road. I used to make my kids come out and clean up Price Road, anything on Price Road. Then we found out that you can actually call the city. I wish I would have known that 3 years prior. So you don't want to belittle yourself, because whatever gift you have, I'm telling you, it's more important than you realize, especially if the gift comes from God. Don't ever tell God he doesn't know what he's doing and the gift isn't important. Everything's important. 2, it will prevent you from belittling others. 1 Corinthians 12:21. So the eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. Can the eye say to the hand, I don't need you? The eye can see what needs to be done, but can the eye go, I'm going to move the couch? Or for some of you who watch too many superhero movies, I'm going to move the couch. No, the eye can't belittle the hand. It needs the hand. When it sees what needs to be done, it has to communicate to the hand, hey, I need a hand. When there's a good performance, nobody says, give an eye. You say, give me a hand, right? Do you see how simple these little verses are and how we skip over them and belittle them because we just don't take time to look at them? We want to get into deep things. We want to get into deep things. We want to get into eschatology. We want to understand why every socket on the curtain was this size. Listen to me. Let me tell you what's deep. Serving each other. And because most people don't want to do that, they decide to go into deep things. So they sit home for 6 hours on the internet, finding out about every pagan thing, and what's so pagan is their attitude about not helping anybody. You're not going to hear this from Joel Osteen, I guarantee you. He likes that jet. Ain't going to lose that jet. Guys, what if the body consisted of only a tongue? I thought about this morning. Now, truth be told, I have met some bodies that consisted of only a tongue. Which reminds me of a conversation from The Wizard of Oz between Dorothy and the Scarecrow. It goes like this. Scarecrow says, I haven't got a brain. Only straw. Dorothy says, how can you talk if you haven't got a brain? Scarecrow says, I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they? You guys are laughing because you know some people like that, right? They might even be pretty close to you. Dorothy says, well, I guess you're right. Guys, the Ruach said to me, this is Greg. God, I don't know what I'm doing. God, I'm not even worthy to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. That's the truth. I feel that way every day. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. It's the truth. I wouldn't lie in the house of God. I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't feel worthy to do what I don't know what I'm doing. All I ask God to do is to make it obvious to me, blatant. And if he makes it obvious to me, then I'll do it. Last week, God told me, I want you to acknowledge some of the people in your congregation who do stuff. Okay? I heard it loud and clear. I went with it. But I wasn't looking for a confirm. I didn't throw out a fleece. But God is so good to me that he gives me confirm. Then Jason sends me the Torah Parsha a couple of days later. Do you know that Torah Parsha was 2 weeks ago? Anybody know that? That's not the Torah Parsha for today. Jason has never blown it in the 10 years he's picking Torah Parshas. This is the first time. But I knew when he sent me that Torah Parsha about the Levites serving, it was an absolute confirm to do what God wanted done. So when I call your name, don't tell me that you're embarrassed when God wants to say thank you. This is a very busy ministry. I know some of you just come and eat and run, but there's so much that goes on here. It's totally, totally overwhelming. So first and foremost, when I first came here, this place was just meeting. They were having meetings. They had nothing established. And the leaders that were in position were just, I'll never forget. I first came and I went to one meeting and I called Bernadette and I said, because we were living in Milledgeville, we had no place to live. I came overnight. I said, Bern, these leaders, they don't even know God. What are we going to do? Why did God do this to us? And then the Lord said, I will take them out one by one. You can't do it. Let me do it. And one by one. And then God gave me David Johnston and Joseph Marks. And they've been incredibly supportive of yours truly. So I'm going to have you come up here. They're the kind of guys, when I call them and I say somebody's in need, Rabbi, is it a good idea? Yes, we need to help them. Do it. That's our meeting. Not get the finance committee, check out their W-2s, see what they're given. Ridiculous. David also takes care of P-112, which is Psalm 112, which is all about being a holy man, a good man of God, besides militia. He takes care of that as well. Daughters of Zion, Gail Fryer and Mabel Kendall. I know Mabel's not here, but Keith is going to stand in her steed. Is that correct? Love you too. And then Messy Moms Ministry for Young Mothers. If Lauren Bryant would come forward. Gail came to my house like 14 years ago, knocked on my door and said, the Lord told me that I'm to take care of your kids. I said, well, you better redial because I'm going to pray really hard about that. I'm very protective. And she helped raise my youngest, all of them. She always watched and gave me a night out with Bernadette for years. And that's why I'm a little teary-eyed. Prayer Force, Lisa Vincent and Rose. Rose, you're going to stand in for her? Is that what's happening? And Lisa could not be here today because she's taking care of her father who's going through chemo. But I know Lisa 15 years since I got here. And that's for Lisa. And you'll get yours in a minute. Oh, you're going to get yours. Corporate prayer, this is different. This isn't the prayer force. You get all your notifications about when you need prayer. But these are people that come every Tuesday. And they intercede. Prayers from the wall and prayers for the congregation, and they cry out like it's their own. It's a gifting. I'm sorry? Thank you, Judy Shockley. You just lost your gift. Yes, and they pray for Pulaski. Anything else? So, Debbie Parkhurst, would you come forward? Okay, moving right along. I got to move right along because you guys will be here forever. But I want you to get an idea of what's going on here, so you don't think it's just I sit in my office and get ready for a sermon. Praise and worship. A guy who's been with me through thick and thin. I've had more praise and worship leaders than Carter had liver pills, but I don't know if Darren has nowhere to go, but he hangs around. So Darren, you want to come up here? And then we have Shabbat school. I can't tell you how important this is. We've had some great Shabbat school leaders in the past, and our current one is no less, Robin Overby. I was going to say, she's probably in Shabbat school. Yeah, well, you guys are enjoying. She's back there doing.
That's what I love doing.
I know you do. I know you do. And that's the nicest thing. To do it with a joy is really wonderful. But I got news for you. If I need something to be moved and you're miserable but you want to move it, I'll take your misery and you can move it with me. Shamashim and World Missions, John Rosberry. He was just deployed. Keep him in your prayers. So Margie is going to come up for him. Is that correct? John's been here since I've been here, and Margie as well. We'll get to you in a minute. You're welcome, dear. And next, we have our Hebrew liturgy, Melody Malone and Jason White. Did he? Oh, he's still here. Okay. I know you have that. You're going out of town. So. And there's also something in there about picking the Torah Parsha remedially, so something in there. Hebrew instruction, Mark Ritchie. I always laugh when I call you, Helene, not because, first of all, you're absolutely lovely, but I will never forget the first time you came here. And you know me, I don't really have a filter, and I tried to tell a joke, and I said, there's two things I can't stand. One is ethnic prejudice, and the other is the Dutch. And Helene was here for the first time. She comes up to me, she goes, I am from Holland. So you'd expect me to say, I'm so sorry, it was just a joke. I said, yeah, you're from Holland, you drink Heineken, you live in a windmill? Where's your clogs? And there's your clogs, and you stayed. I love you too. Which shows you have a thick skin. I like people with a thick skin. It's hard to find these days, huh? I'm offended. Next door of hope, our spiritual counseling. JB and Ann Mason, are they around? Boy, were these guys lifesavers. You have no idea. I was doing this on Tuesday all day. I had from 8 to 5 every hour on the hour. And I came home, and I'm telling you, on the way home, I lived across the street, I said, Bernadette, hide the steak knives. Man, is it hard to, you want to talk about getting drained, listening to everybody's problems. So, can't thank you enough. Come on, stand up here. Building maintenance. Joe Marks, who's already up here. Ben Fryer, who's Johnny on the spot. Just changed my lock this week. Come on up here, Ben. And Gerald Ray. Come on. You guys are here in a moment's notice when something goes on, always looking to repair stuff and help us out. And it's very, very, very important. I had to call Ben to hang the picture that you see. I couldn't hang the picture. That's a sad state of affairs. That's how you know I'm Jewish. We're almost there, guys. Be patient. This is important. We do it, once in a while. Technology. Jason's already up there. Yeah, Jason, he investigated all this. I didn't have time. He investigated all the projectors and the different systems and which ones to go with, so he does a lot of work behind the scenes. Hospitality and greet is Cindy Henderson. Where art thou? I love you too. You see, there's more to it than just me, huh? That's the point. You're getting the point. Hospital visitation, Rose Core. Man, have you saved me. I go when I can, but I can't go all the time. I just can't. And you go, and man, has that been a blessing. Pulaski State Prison, Susie Varner cannot be here, but Judy Shockley. Judy, 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 do you love me? Judy, 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 do you care?
Love you, Rabbi.
I love you too. Love you too, Judy. McRae Correctional Facility, Bonnie Conklin. She couldn't be here. She's doing something at the prison, but she runs McRae Prison Ministry. Do we have Bonnies? Susie, do you have Susie's, Judy? Let me see the little sticker. Yes, you have Susie's, and this is yours. And do we have Bonnie's? No. That's in the office? Okay. We're getting there. I promise. All right, I'm not going to talk too much more. Media ministry. Where is Margie? Margie, she sits in the back. She comes here for hours and puts CDs together for Samuel, for Stephen, for Arnie in Australia, for the prison ministries. She sits back there and just puts together all those CDs. We give them out for free. It's not a money-making thing. In fact, we lose. But people seem to be blessed with it. I'm not sure how or why, but it doesn't matter. Multimedia, sound, camera, projection. All those thousands of people that watch, they couldn't watch if it wasn't for these guys. John Frazier cannot be here, but Curtis Lee, Dara Foy, and Elijah Basha. Where art thou? Dara, see if this is you. Yes. Curtis, come on, stand up there. Elijah, thank you so very much. We have our group ministry, our small groups, because, it's a ministry. It's very important for people to get in small groups and connect. So Yechad, a group ministry and fellowship. Faith Dingleson, where art thou? Does your husband like your hair? Does he like your new haircut? He told you to cut it. And you listened to him. You are very submissive. Yes. Yes, you are. I could just see if I said to Bern, you need to cut your hair. I'd definitely say it while I was moving. And then we have Young Adult Yechad. The Young Adult Ministry is taken care of by Jessica Thompson. Jessica, she does a beautiful job with them. And Micha Mocha, somebody told me the other day, they said, well, you said something about coffee shops and other congregations. You have a coffee shop? Yeah, but we don't charge for the coffee. Vienna! Which is, I never thought about it, but Vienna is a heck of a roast.
Yes, it is.
It really is, which makes all the sense. Clean team, David Johnson, he's already up here. Landscape, Gerald and Julie. No, this should be you, I think. What's that name on there? Your name is Thank You, right? Julie. Okay. Yes, Gerald should have his already. And then, in case somebody potentially is almost kicking the bucket, we have the medical emergency team, Carol Hoffman. This one.
Love you.
Just want to see your reflexes. And we have a special events coordinator. She does a lot of things and a lot of design for a lot of our special events. Laura Lee, where are you? Thanks, dearest. I love you too. And last but not least, my other two right-hand men that are with me all the time and always watching my back. And I've seen a lot of assistant and associate rabbis in my time, but not like them two. I mean, they work so hard, you have no idea. I wish you would come here one day and sit in that office and watch how unbelievably busy they are. It's unbelievable. Roxanne, and Denise. Or as I affectionately refer to them as, Ebony and Ivory. We're together in perfect harmony.
As your assistant, everybody make sure you check that you have the right bag because he wrote a special note.
Yeah, I wrote a special note for everybody, a personal note, so it wasn't like one of these thank you things. Yeah, make sure you tag. Now, I want to tell you two quick things. One is before I really knew that I can ask people for help, Bernadette and I did all these jobs. And I kid you not. She was home homeschooling, answering the phone. We had no office, so phone. I was counseling, I was teaching, we were cleaning. It was ridiculous. And we both lost ourselves. We lost our minds, we lost our family, and we lost ourselves. We really did. And if you would have seen me back then and you would ask me how things are going, I would have told you horrible. But I think if this is what God wants, I'll do it. But it was horrible. And then, these guys came along and really changed our lives since we got into the new facility. People ask me, Rabbi, what can I do for you? They ask me that. I'm not sure if they really mean it, but they ask me, and this is what I would tell you. Don't ask Beth Yeshua what it can do for you. Ask yourself what you could do for Beth Yeshua. We live in a world where everybody takes. Even in the spiritual community, they take and 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 then they take some more. Try to give. Right now we need people on the clean team. Do you realize if we had 8 clean teams, you would have to clean the synagogue twice a year? Dave the elder has his hand in the toilet that you guys urinate in. And he's here too much because nobody else will help. We need help with Shabbat school. Sometimes Robin is calling people in the morning to see if they can come in. Some of you have your kids in Shabbat school. You've never taught a class. Think about that. We need help with Yichad. Faith is looking for an assistant. John desperately needs help with Shamashim. Projection, we need more help. And sound ministry, we can use an experienced sound person. Now, I can guilt you real easy, but I really don't want to. This is what I want to ask you. What do I have to do? Tell me, I'll do it. I mean, my wife cleans the synagogue. We're not above anybody. Never was, never will be. We just need help. There's just too many that come. But with that being said, there are a lot of people helping, and I know a lot of you are helping behind the scenes. I want to leave you with this letter that I just received from the CEO of Herzog Medical Center, Dr. Yehiel Kane, an Orthodox Jew who years ago would have probably spit on me. And there's the letter we get. Dear Rabbi Greg, on behalf of our children and all the other patients who will benefit from the donation of the custom-designed wheelchairs, we would like to thank Beth Yeshua International. Imagine, the CEO of the #1 hospital in Jerusalem is saying Beth Yeshua, House of Jesus, for this incredible expression of generosity and support. We can all agree that the sight of the children sitting up for the first time in their special wheelchairs was most moving. The wheelchairs have given them a new life, as now they will not just lie in bed all day. They can now sit up, go outside for fresh air, and see their environment for the first time. Just by being able to sit up, they're seeing a whole new world, not just the world around their bed. They couldn't even see you unless you stood over them in their bed. All they saw was the ceiling, all day long and all night long. In addition, and this is something medical, he's a doctor, just by sitting up and being more mobile, the wheelchairs are improving their health. The chesed, which is a Hebrew term for tender loving kindness, everyone at Beth Yeshua International has done should bring all of you much blessing. You have literally changed the lives of all those who will benefit from the wheelchairs. Thank you especially for highlighting the wheelchairs for Israel and Hershberg Hospital on your website. We are grateful for your visit. We are sure that you enjoyed the rest of your time in our beautiful Israel. All members of Beth Yeshua International and any of your friends and family have an open invitation to visit Hershberg Hospital on their future trips to Israel. Signed, Dr. Yehezkel Kane, CEO, Director General, Hershberg Medical Center. You want to know what a miracle is?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. I've been all over the world. I've seen a lot of spiritual things. Did you ever hear of a person in maybe a house that was flooding, and all of a sudden God opened up the roof and they were catapulted out to heaven on a cloud, and then he gave them some kind of angelic parachute and they parachuted back down to safety? Or did you hear about somebody that goes in there to save them? God operates through his people. Period. And if your mode of behavior is to just stay home, read, and then point your finger at everybody who's doing the wrong thing in the spiritual realm, it's a sad existence. I know some of you. I see you when you come and cut the grass. It's not unnoticed. I see you when you come and you do things at Beth Yeshua, or you help out in the coffee shop or whatever. I could have many more of you stand up here. Please, if I forgot anybody or you feel like, well, I do some things, I know. And Bernadette's not even here because she would be so embarrassed if I told her to come up. She does a ton of stuff at Beth Yeshua. A ton. And in a lot of ways, she's my sounding board. She has a lot more wisdom than I do on many occasions. So I don't want you to be forced to get involved. But again, if we had 8 clean teams, twice a year, once every 6 months, you'd come in on a Sunday for a couple of hours. Can you imagine? Many hands lighten the load, right? One hand washes the other and they both wash the face. All I'm saying is, don't listen to me. Pray. I'm sure if you're supposed to, the Lord will let you know. It's not telling me no. Then it's off me, right? Then you're telling him no. And that's a whole different ballgame. I know some of you come from far away. It's not doable. I get it. Some of you single moms says, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't ever put your family at risk or your job at risk. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying especially some of you single folks, what do you do with all your time? So just think about it. It's a wonderful congregation. You guys are doing a beautiful thing. Even you guys at home, you're a major part of that whole Hershberg Hospital thing. And I really think we're just scratching the surface at Beth Yeshua. I really do believe, and I'm not even an optimistic person, but I feel like the best is yet to come. Amen? Let's stand together. A little longer than usual, obviously. I apologize, but this is done once in a while. Hopefully you can appreciate all their hard work and efforts. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may the Lord lift up his very countenance upon you and give you his peace in the name of the Prince of all peace, Yeshua. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yo'er Adonai panov elecha v'hunecha. Yisa Adonai panov elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. I love you guys. Shabbat shalom.